and gentlemen, friends and family all around the world, it's Greg.
It's Matt.
And we're the bottom tier.
Bottom
and we
tier.
are back, baby.
Oh my gosh, it's been way too long, Greg.
Way too long.
And you know what? Just to start off, we're going to apologize.
Profusely, continuously.
Yeah, I'm going to apologize. Look, I had a lot of, I went on a work trip at some point. Valentine's Day was another week. And just with the things happening in my life, I don't know if we've officially talked about it in the podcast.
Like once or twice is like an aside, I think.
Maybe.
But we've never actually done the announcement.
Yeah, my wife and I are pregnant. And so there's a lot of, answer a few questions get asked often. No, we are not going to find out the gender, and it's due August 7th. Yep. We are going to wait until that day to figure it out. But
fun fact, my brother's birthday is August the 6th.
Hey, well, then it could be a possibility. What's your brother's name?
Taylor.
Well, that's not a name.
Well done. Taylor, if you're listening to this right now, Matt hates your name.
No, I like it. I like that name, but that will not be the name of our child. Yeah, so it's been kind of crazy, and so haven't been able to personally, it's mostly been on my side, not be able to come and record the podcast as much. And we're going to dive deep a little bit more into like the future of Bottom Tier as well as we kind of go through and what our expectations are and what this, like, we're almost hitting a year mark. So kind of
we're getting close.
How this year is, it's not going to be a year recap like we did earlier, but just kind of goal setting and things like that. But before we get into the meat and potatoes of that, we do have some interesting, I think there's some drops, wasn't there?
We have had a couple of drops.
There's some news for Flesh and Blood.
Flesh and Blood news. It's almost like this is a Flesh and Blood podcast or something.
Yeah,
my God.
I don't think we talked about that. We're a Flesh and Blood podcast. Welcome.
Woo.
We're casual. Woo.
We're very casual.
We're a casual Flesh and Blood. You never will see one of this ever.
This is us vamping right now, actually, guys, because we didn't pull up the
we just
spoilers.
Knew we missed you. We really knew
we did. We were excited to get back in front of the mic because really we love doing this together. We love doing it for you guys. We love you guys engaging back with us. And it's been a couple of weeks.
Yeah, it has.
So it's just, it's nice to jump back into it. But of course, I can't find the stupid spoilers now.
So there's some spoilers involving, there's one called
Ninja, right?
Move Like Water was one of them. Move Like Water, what that says, as I pop over to the Discord that has this, and we have a spoiler section. New set, official reveals. Oh, our internet's bad. That's why you're struggling.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, let's see what we could do here. Okay. Wow, this is us being very bad at our job. Okay, cool.
Man, we screwed this one up. All right.
Yeah, so it looks like
we've actually got a bunch of these to talk about.
We do. So we're going to go back, retract a little bit. Peace of Mind is the first thing that pops up that we did not talk about before. Peace of Mind is a generic instant card. The next time you would be dealt damage, this turn prevent 4 of that damage and create a ponder token.
2 cost.
Red
stripe on this one, but probably going to show up in Rainbow. And that's fun.
That's really fun.
That's really fun.
This is actually my first. This is our second look at that because you were excited for that for Guardian making Oldhim more, taking some damage.
More impossible, yeah.
Next up is a Ranger weapon, which is exciting, called Barbed Castaway. Once per turn instant, you may put an arrow card, or 1 cost, you may put an arrow card from your hand face up in your arsenal. Once per turn instant, you may turn a face down arrow in your arsenal face up. If you do, put an aim counter on it. So
that's flippin' sweet.
That's exciting.
I read this somewhere else. I'm not 100% sure, but there's a little speculation that this is going to be the draftable Ranger bow. If that's the case, then that's insane. This is really, really solid. It allows you to both directly arsenal face up from your hand, and it also allows you, in case you have to end a turn and arsenal something, it lets you then flip it, get any benefit it has from being face up, and drop an aim counter on it.
Yep.
A lot of the new Outsiders cards and some of the Dynasty cards really benefit from it. We played in a Commoner League last night.
Yep.
And the promo we got from it was Hemorrhage Boar, I think it was.
Hemorrhage Boar, yeah.
I didn't read the card at all last night. I just took it and went, ooh, shiny, and put it in a pocket and went home. But I was reading it today, and if it has an aim counter on it, if it hits the hero, they discard a card in their arsenal.
There you go.
It's a 1 for 5, so it's basically a Ranger flavor Command and Conquer.
I love that.
I love it. It's phenomenal,
a breaking
right?
point or a Ranger flavor. Like it's one of those. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Making the value of Command and Conquer go down, maybe? No,
probably not. But we'll see.
One could dream. We also have our first look at a trap.
Yeah, it's not even just a trap. It is the legendary Riptide specialization.
Yes, collapsing trap. When this defends an attack with go again, the attacking hero discards their hand, then draws that many cards -1.
Ranger defense reaction trap, 3 block. Blue, probably this is the only color that we're going to get for it. So 3 pitch and 0 cost. That's awesome.
You know who this really messes up?
Everybody?
Fi.
Yes, it does.
It is a very big stopper to Fi, so Fi now has a solid just counter against them.
And it's not even like with like Hope Merchants or something like that where you put it back at the bottom of your deck or like shuffle it back in. You straight discard it.
Yeah.
So anything that you have in your hand, if you have a combo like ready to go, it's gone. Sorry.
Oh, it's bye-bye.
You don't get to anymore.
Yeah.
So that's pretty good.
It's bad. It's bad for Fi and it's bad for Dash as well.
Bad for Dash.
Dash does have higher attack, but they do get go again from boosting. So it actually, I don't think it would affect Dash too much. Because boost doesn't have a go again keyword. Never mind.
Boost actually, and we don't have a mechanologist card in front of us right now, so yeah. I don't know 100%, but I'm pretty sure that in the parenthetical text where it explains the boost mechanic, it says that if it's a mechanologist card, then it gains go again, like explicitly.
Oh, so that would work. Okay, cool.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure that this would work. And, you know, any deck that wants to go aggro wants to keep their full hand. If you can knock even a single card out of it, you're already in a better position, regardless of whether it's a ninja or dash or what have you. If you're going for that hyper aggro, smack them as many times as humanly possible sort of build, then you're going to run into trouble. And that happens with Fi and Dash. It happens with the other ninjas, Katsu and Benji and Ira. Basically anything that wants to go fast and hit hard.
And you know what's great about this is if you're playing Runeblade, though, let's think about it this way, is this defense reaction actually can be, you could try to bank on it.
Yeah.
Meaning like, I think they might have collapsing trap. I'm going to go ahead and play my attack action first because my hand is just not doing the non-attack action as well. And it might be able to actually like fix your hand for you.
Right, exactly.
Which is kind of cool too. Like you could try to metagame against it and that kind of makes it very, very exciting.
It really does. Like it's one card. We don't have any other of like the Riptide like cards, like none of the other traps or anything as far as I know have been revealed. Maybe one previously, I don't recall. But this, it opens a new dimension to the game a little bit because now you're really like, you're trying to get in each other's head and figure out, okay, if I block this and make them discard their hand, am I helping them or am I hurting them?
Yep.
Do they have this? If they do, I'm good. If they don't, I'm screwed. And like where the balance comes in for that. Super, super interesting sort of thought experiments there.
It's very cool. I'm excited. The next card is for, it has pretty much, it's like showcasing Katsu a little bit, but it's called Dishonor. It's
my God. This card is ridiculous.
Go ahead.
All right. So Dishonor, blue, 0 cost, 2 attack, 3 defense, ninja action attack. Text reads combo. If Bonds of Ancestry was the last attack this combat chain, this has +2. Bonds of Ancestry is the one we looked at the last time. When this hits a hero, if you control Surging Strike, Descendant Gust Wave, and Bonds of Ancestry, that hero loses all abilities for the rest of the game.
That's crazy.
That's nuts. Now, it is tricky to pull off because you have to have 3 specific named cards on the chain already. But, I mean, Katsu loves doing crap like that.
Yep.
So I don't think you're going to have too much of an issue getting this out.
And it's going to force a block no matter what.
It's going to force a block no matter what. And you almost have to overblock it because this is like the perfect target for a Razor.
It is. And the fact that 0 cost is wild. 0
cost, which, I mean, because you have to have those other cards definitely on the link, the 0 cost kind of makes sense to balance it out a little bit. But still, like that's powerful.
It doesn't say on the link. It just says in possession. So
if you control.
Oh, control. If you control. Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I could 100% be wrong, but I'm fairly certain that you don't control a card formally until it's on the chain. I don't think like a discard or something like that counts.
We need the rules things that pop up.
Judge.
But yeah, that's awesome. It's one of our first Majestics. So that's cool.
Yeah, that and Collapsing Trap I think are our first 2 Majestics.
Yep. Next up, we have a Ninja Equipment. Straight from Game of Thrones. No, I'm just kidding. Mask of Many Faces. It's an instant, 1 cost, destroying Mask of Many Faces. Name a card. The next attack action card you play this turn gains that name, which coincides well with Dishonor.
Beautifully with Dishonor. We can turn anything into anything. So, Head Jab suddenly becomes Surging Strike and you're on that combo chain, baby.
Yep. It's that's really, really cool. And I like that. It can really help like fix a hand for you.
Right, exactly.
And it's a common, so this is great for the commoner format.
It's great for commoner. It's great for draft. It also blocks for 1, so you get a little bit more of that tankiness in there in case you come up against like a Fire or something and they're running Kodachi or something like that, or you go against Dromine and you have a bunch of little dragons you have to block. If you're not using this for its instant effect, then you can still block with 1. It has Blade Break, so you get, sort of moderate usage out of that. But still, it's available.
But hey, gives you one defense. It's great. Next is another ninja action, another majestic.
A lot of ninja stuff we're dropping,
which is great. Which means there's a lot, which is cool. Head leads the tail. When this attacks, name another card. Attack action cards with that name have +1. This combat chain go again. This is awesome for basic ninja cards
for
or
everything.
Gusways or anything. So if you have a handful of it, you'll be able to give that +1 with this, and it's A1. Cost 1.
Cost 1. It's in red here. It's majestic, so possibly only the red we're getting of this, but maybe other colors as well. But this synergizes beautifully with Mask of Many Faces and the whole Dishonor chain. You proc the Many Faces, and then you name it. What's the first one it says here? Surging Strike. You play Head Leads Tail. So everything on the chain gets pluses. That makes it harder for them to block. It makes them harder to stop the damage. It makes it just a little bit trickier for your opponent to prevent you from getting that full combo off. I'm kind of excited about this set.
Yeah.
So far, it looks really
This is going to be really fun. I'm glad they're showcasing the ninjas because we did see a lot about Ranger and Assassin so far. So this is really good. This last one is another ninja card. It's a ninja attack action called Be Like Water. The first thing I talked about. When this hits a hero, you may pay 1. If you do, choose Head Jab, Surging Strike, or Twin Twisters. This gains this chosen name. So
with Go again, 3 attack, 2 block, red, 0 common. So probably going to have the other colors as well here.
Yep, and this helps increase your combat chain. So
there you go, man.
Use some cards. So Ninja is turning into, it's really diving deep. We were talking about stereotypes, I think, our last episode.
Yeah.
So it's really diving deep more into that martial arts aspect, especially the flow like water of I am a master of this type of technique to be able to do these cool things. So that's really cool that they're able to make it more flexible.
The flexibility is the biggest thing. I really enjoy Ninja, but it's always been sort of tricky to pull off. If you're trying to go a full combo route, you kind of have to run Katsu in order to get those pieces out.
Yeah.
If you're trying to not play combo so much, you're going to have a difficult time stacking the damage up to where you really need it to be to punch through some of the heavier sort of matchups like your Guardians or whatnot.
Yeah.
So really interesting that they're playing into the flexibility to allow you to flow like water and turn it into head jab, and then follow up with open the center or something like that, or surging strikes into the full dishonor combo or whatever you end up having the hand for. The flexibility is going to be one of the biggest things, and I think it's exactly the shot in the arm that ninjas other than Fi need.
Yep, and that Dishonored, even though they were showcasing Katsu on the cover of it, or with the sleeves and stuff. It's a 2 attack, so it can work really, really well with Benji.
Right, exactly.
Which is terrifying.
Which is freaking especially since Benji's in this set.
Yeah.
You just stack your deck up with blues and stuff. You just 1/1/1 dishonor. Goodbye.
Yep. So that would be. I'm really excited to see some Benji play because I don't think I see enough Benji, and so
not nearly enough Benji. And I love Benji.
Yeah.
I've been playing Benji more often here recently, just kind of on my own during my downtime, and he's a hell of a lot of fun actually.
That's awesome.
I was playing against my partner the other day actually, and during the whole thing, it's just why can't I block anything for my hand? Why can't I block these cards? Is something going wrong? Why can't I block these?
It's I'm Benji.
Exactly. We were playing on Talishar. So it wasn't giving the little automatic thing. So they were hella confused. Oh. It was beautiful.
You know what? There's nothing better than confusing your partner.
There really isn't. Yeah. That's a bottom tier top tip.
Top tip, confuse your partner. So good. Good tips only here. How has Flesh and Blood been for the past 2 weeks? I mean, we have some catching up to do. How's your journey been on it? And what's your favorite thing going on right now in it?
So the journey the last couple of weeks has been fairly slow. Been tinkering with the new CC deck. Think I'm going to pivot away from Oldham a little bit. Mm-hmm. As much as I love Big Papa Winter, it's with all the bands and everything. It's not sparking the joy the way that it used to.
Yeah.
So I'm pivoting to another Guardian. I'm sure everyone's going to be thrilled to hear that.
Mm-hmm. Starvo. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because legal and fun for everyone. But I'm pivoting into Bravo. I've decided to go Earth Lore with it.
Oh,
so,
cool.
Yeah, so Crown of Dominion, Earth Lore Surge.
So fun Bravo.
Draw, and then surprise, it's a free Pulverize.
That's exciting.
Have a good day.
That's gonna be good. I like that.
I'm pretty excited for it, and it seems like it's kind of starting to catch on in the meta a little bit. When Crown of Dominion first came out, I started playing around with it a little bit, like I'm sure a lot of us did. The first place I went was actually Blitz with it. I built a Volda Brightaxe deck.
Oh, cool.
Because Volda's ability, whenever your opponent draws a card too, you get the earth, you get the seismics. So between that and Earth Lore, plus the gold you get for cash-ins and things like that, like it was just a freaking dynamo.
Oh, that's awesome.
But so I'm super excited that this is sort of starting to come together a little bit. Other than that, I've been tinkering with stuff, man. I've just been kind of like, I haven't been going to many armories or anything like that. I've been working from home a lot, so I have some downtime during the day.
That's awesome.
Fortunately, nobody I work with listens to this or is into this particular hobby, so I can admit these things to you without fear of repercussions. But so I've had some downtime during the day, so I've just started, net decking a little bit, sort of tinkering with my own things. I've got kind of an Emperor thing going on. I've got a couple of ninja things going on. I'm starting to sort of find my niche with it. Like I've really enjoyed the game for a while now, for coming up on a year. And I've loved building the decks and going to the things and doing all the things. But it's always been a little like, how do I actually define myself, in this hobby? Because you have, the super competitive people and the guys who are there for, the collectability of everything and everything. Sorry, it's really windy today, and the wind is kind of opening the front door of the place that we're in recording right now. So the little alarm is going off, and we're freaking out.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like I was never really sure where I fit in, and I think kind of where I'm starting to land a little bit is just the cool guy who just sort of brings weird, wacky deck concepts, and
I love that. That's
does
so
okay.
Cool. That's cool. I like that a lot.
Right? We're embracing the casual here.
Yeah. Super cash. I like
Super
that.
cash. So yeah, that's been going pretty well. I got my partner into the game, so we've been playing some. They're pretty excited about it. They haven't won a game yet against me, which makes me feel really great and really bad simultaneously. Nice to know that I am actually decent at this game sometimes, but also it feels real bad sometimes.
Yeah, no, it
real
does.
Bad.
Yeah.
But they're super into it. They've been building some decks, some pretty good ones, actually.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So it's just a matter of getting the pilot skills down, and we'll be good to go. So very exciting stuff there. But other than that, it's been kind of a boring couple weeks, frankly, insofar as Flesh and Blood is concerned. I popped an Everfest box a couple of weeks ago.
I saw the tweets.
Yeah. Check out at Bottom Tier Greg if anybody wants to, do that thing on the Elon Musk's vanity project. But yeah, so popped that, pulled a stalagmite, so got pretty much all my money back. So very exciting stuff there. But seriously, that's pretty much it. Like when opening a box of Everfest is like the most exciting thing that you can end on, well, I feel like it's kind of a wash.
Hey, it's still pretty cool. I like that a lot. So
also got a rainbow foil Genius What You Need. So
there you go.
If anybody needs what you need,
I mean,
hit a fella up.
Yeah, hit him up, or I have a cold foil one, whatever you want.
Oh, looking mad.
Yeah, I got one of those. Yeah,
I'll trade you 2 rainbow foils for a cold foil.
Sure. If you really want Genius What You Need, you can have it. Yeah,
merchant sucks.
Yeah, just don't care about it too much. So. Yeah.
Cool beans. We'll talk about that offline. Anyway, Matt, how's
Jesus, whatever.
Right, exactly. I know you've been busy, but how's the last couple of weeks been for you, man? Insofar as the fab stuff goes.
It's been slow. I
believe that.
I haven't touched it at all, honestly. And that's on me. Like, I'm sure all of you figured out the last 2 times that there's definitely like momentum being lost. But I think for myself, but I did play in a match. Against a couple commoner matches we played last night. I played one online to finish off like another online tournament we were part of. Mm-hmm. And I liked their deck. It was cool. It was a really cool Arachne build that was like kind of like a stall Arachne. And so it was like really cool to be able to watch this stuff.
I think I played that Matt and I both play in the same league.
Yeah.
And we're in the same division since we're geographically located, obviously pretty close. So I think I played that same deck.
It's good.
It's surprising. I never played against Arachne before, so I wasn't 100% sure what was going on. So I brought my chain deck in because I figured if he gets the attacks through, I don't really mind if stuff gets banished. That's kind of my whole shtick anyway. He fatigued me. like in two of the. He won the first one and the third one. I won the second one.
Yeah, he was a fatigue build. Yeah,
100%. And he actually pulled it off, which is like really impressive to me. So really fun.
Very
deck
smart,
to play
very
against.
smart player. Very good.
Excellent pilot. Good deck.
But it was great. So that was really interesting. I was like, oh, that's really cool. Let me see that. And we shared a few decks. Shared Cavdine and Lexi and all that stuff.
Nice.
It was cool. But out of all honesty, like there has just been kind of just a few little pulls of just where I'm enjoying the game, and I don't necessarily know if it's like filling me up 100% with like the amount of joy that it did in the beginning. And it's a mixture of a couple things. Like we announced that I have a kid on the way, and so my brain's been thinking a lot more of future, like parental future, like what am I gonna do as a parent, and like what's the most like important things in my life. And then and also just the game in general, like as I go to armories, like I feel like there's less and less people, and the community is also getting exhausted, and so I feed off of energy sometimes, and so my energy is like cool, like no one's excited to like really, like if I pull this deck out, they just go if I pull this deck out here, it's like, why don't you find me with something for real? And then like like if I bring like Dominion Levi, it's fun for a couple times, but if I bring it again, it's like,
we've already seen this.
Yeah. So, and I just don't have the time to be able to always build the zany cool deck every single week or the funds,
Yeah.
And so, so it hasn't been as like spicy as it's been. It's been really slow for me. And a lot of things are just kind of in limbo until like the next couple of weeks when Outsiders comes out for me. So
100%.
That's just the honesty, So,
yeah, totally. Yeah. And that it's important to talk about this sort of thing, the fatigue that can set in.
Yeah.
Not just, we've been doing this for a while. We need to take a little bit of like a mental health break to make sure that we're focusing on other things. But when things start to feel stagnant, when they slow down, when people start deciding, well, I could do this thing or I could go play cards. I don't really want to go play cards. When you like don't have the drive anymore, it gets really difficult to like put yourself out there and continue on going.
And also part of it was like we set up and made like a commoner format, and I mean, we have some locals listening to this too.
Hi guys.
And it's nothing against any of the locals, but it would kind of like it didn't hurt like my emotions, but like we started it and then it's like, cool, I got to go do some work stuff, and it just won't fire because it's just like it's kind of like, oh, that's a bummer, like
yeah, exactly.
Like, is it reliant on me as like a thought I have? Like,
do I have to go in order to make sure that other people have a good time? Because then it becomes work. It's not fun anymore. It's a job.
Yeah. So I don't like, part of that's a feeling too, and I genuinely want to see these people, and I just hope they genuinely want to play. But it kind of feels like our community, at least, has just been a little bit like, I'm waiting till Outsiders, and that's totally. Like I said, this is my first TCG, and that probably is a normal thing that happens when sets come out.
The fatigue sets in after a little while, especially when we've gone 6 months when Outsiders comes out, between Uprising and Outsiders, between sort of the primary sets. It can get hard to keep pushing on, because the Uprising as like a set, as like a draftable set, has basically been solved at this point.
No, it has been solved. It's interesting because I think the game experienced so much growth during Uprising. And
it kind of exploded a little bit.
It exploded big time. And what happened was we were just like, Uprising. And we had like a month of just like, ah. And then we like, oh, I'm done. Like it was like a month. And then
after a month or so, everyone was like, well, we know how this is going to go.
Yeah,
why
we're burned
bother?
out. And then there was this LSS, like, I mean, I don't speak for them, but probably looked at the numbers, was like, we need to keep playing Uprising. Everyone just keep playing Uprising because it's the new set. This is the standard, right. And our numbers are great, and keep it up. And it's like, no, we don't want more. Like, we're good. Like, let's just go back to switching it up. But we also have to practice for these pro tours and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Like, it's interesting. Kind of like what you said, is finding my place in the community has been like, am I being really competitive, or like I have a podcast.
Yeah,
we have a podcast. That's very conceited.
Technically, you do have a podcast. We
have a podcast. And then asking myself, am I a competitive player? And then it's like, I don't have time for that. Between podcasts and video editing, all this stuff, like in the beginning, it was just like, man, I really threw myself in there. And then bam, we're casual. Like, I'm a casual player. Like, I want to show up, hang out with some buddies, play some games,
have a good time.
Even if it's like not Flesh and Blood. I want to hang out with those friends and like doing that stuff. Like I enjoy like just doing those things with the people. And what's really cool is like this game is still cool enough to make you think in different ways of the like mechanics of things, but it's reached a point where like everything just kind of feels, as you said, solved. Everything kind of feels solved. There's not a lot of variant.
And like
things.
the biggest thing was that Dynasty came out and had a lot of really cool stuff in it, but didn't have anything really like game changing.
No.
Like most of the stuff, like, yeah, you can find a place for it, but you don't really need to find a place for it. And nothing in there really like necessarily, and please correct me if I'm wrong, guys, because again, this is a casual podcast. I am not, the great guru of
Greg,
all things, even though the alliteration is pretty great, right?
Yeah.
Great guru Greg. Like I don't have every rule in every card interaction
we're not
saved in
judges.
my brain.
Yeah.
Exactly. But it feels like Dynasty brought some hype, but it didn't really add anything like earth shattering.
No,
And so when it kind of fizzled a little bit, like for about a week after the launch, I remember people being really excited for, trying new things out and all that kind of thing. And they sort of realized that nothing was really going to change that much and just went like right back to the uprising fatigue. So it's been 3 more months of uprising fatigue since Dynasty.
It's so interesting. My brain's kind of taking that and it's like, yeah, uprising fatigue, Dynasty, and like Dynasty just kind of didn't really do much. So it's still just uprising fatigue, I guess.
Yeah.
And also it kind of made me just like have like a side note is honestly in any fandom,
Here we go, guys.
In any fandom, fans are the worst. And I don't mean that in a,
there's always a subset who has to make it difficult for everybody else.
And what I mean by that is like, as fans of this card game and caring about like the memories made along the way and like the cool stuff of it. Mm-hmm. And as players, we kind of like always, for some reason as a society, want to point out the negatives, because I'm trying to think back of when it was like the good old days of Flesh and Blood, and everybody has like a different thing. But what's interesting is like, I remember more of the people being like complaining the entire time. So it's like Starvo meta, trash. Oh, now Chain and Prisms, whatever. I hate it. And like, oh, we're sick of Uprising. Okay,
I hate playing Fire.
Dynasty did nothing.
Nobody plays anybody other than Fire and Oldhim anymore.
Yeah, it's like everyone's just complaining about something at some point. And I guess we're just a bunch of complainers, So that's cool. So I'm really excited I'm excited for Outsiders. Yeah.
Outsiders, yeah.
I almost said Uprisers, and I was like, that's not right. We already had.
I almost said Outriders earlier.
Yeah. But Outsiders, I'm very excited for, but also personally for me, if it doesn't strike me as like, as I go to because I remember the feeling of pre-release being really, really stoked. Like, even though we just kind of decided to yell at Uprising a little bit, the beginning, like, few months of Uprising, solving that
great.
Was a lot of fun.
Super fun. Like you can go back and you can listen to podcasts around the time that Uprising was coming out. Yeah. We did some around that.
And we were like,
and we were talking about that. Like, man, this feels so great. It feels so fresh. Like everything is viable now. Yeah. Like, let's go.
Yeah. And it was like, oh, I'm Fi. I love Fi, and Fi is still great. But now, like, because it's overplayed, I kind of like went away from Fi a little bit. Like, I don't know. Like, people are kind of shitting this guy, and I don't like that. But I'm excited for Outsiders, but it's also kind of that thing of like, if it feels like a Dynasty, or if it feels like it's not going to do anything exciting as I play it, then it might be my time to be like, hey, I got to either choose this or this and go from there.
It's time to take a step back. Just, play a little commoner every once in a while.
Yeah.
Maybe collect a little bit.
And just be more casual in the space. And so what does that mean for bottom tier? Well, I would hope it continues, but also it would kind of depend on what we want to do moving forward when that time comes,
Exactly. Like it's a bigger question, I feel like. And guys, we really didn't intend to get on this like here in front of everybody or anything.
Oh, I don't know. I thought we were.
Okay. Well, Matt and I were not on the same page with this one.
I'm so sorry. We don't want to talk about it in front of everybody.
But you're cool, man. We've already broached it. What are we going to do? Hey, cut guys, 10 minutes out of the middle of things?
You're awesome.
You are awesome. And please, Daddy and Daddy aren't breaking up because of you. It's Matt.
Yeah.
But no, like it is a really important question. Like with something like what we're doing here, which is really like it's a niche enthusiast thing. Even amongst the enthusiasts of this niche, thing that we love.
Yeah.
And the time has to come when you need to periodically you have to check in with yourself.
Yeah.
And you have to make sure that the things that you're doing are still giving you something back.
Yeah.
If all you're doing is like pouring into something and you're not getting anything in return from that other than, a headache and I burned a bunch of gas to get over here, then what's the point?
Yeah.
Right? Like when we started this, we started with the idea of you and me just sitting down and having a good time with each other, talking about the thing that we loved, playing the games, just, nerding out for 45 minutes or so every week. And just having a good time with it.
Yeah.
And you, of course, are a different human being, so you can have different thoughts and feelings about this. But for me, the fun is always the biggest thing. Right. If you're not having fun with it, then what are you doing? So you have to check in every once in a while with yourself to make sure that you're still having fun with it.
Yeah.
And if you are, then wonderful. Press on. Live your life. If you're not, then you need to think a little deeper. You need to think about why you're not having fun, and if it's something that can change or evolve or adapt, or if it's something that you've just you've gotten a little older, things are changing in your life, like it's time to reorient your priorities. So like I encourage everybody out there, just periodically, like every couple of months, take an hour, read a book or something, just let your mind sort of wander.
Yeah.
And make sure that, what you're doing is making you happy. If you're not happy, figure out why.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, you're good. I was just going to keep vamping.
No, it was great. Honestly, it's a tip that we've been giving forever is like, does it bring you joy? Yeah. Are you having fun? Absolutely. So you do that thing, especially in a card game, you find the cards that make you stoked. And for me, or Marie Kondo, that's Marie Kondoing your life.
Joy?
Does it spark joy?
Yeah.
Or like, does this bring you joy when you're going through your stuff at home? But for me, like this game has been feeling such a way in a little bit for like, at least for a month or two now of just kind of coasting with it, just kind of not feeling like 100% there, and even taking breaks and doing stuff like that hasn't really repaired that feeling with it. There was, and a lot of stuff with that, but I think it's just because our community is kind of dipped down a little bit, and two, nothing fresh has really excited me. And so Outsiders is kind of like my last like big, like
the make or break.
If this is great, I'm in, this is going to be awesome. Yeah. I'm in, I'm playing, I'm coasting. It's going to be fun because I know that every 6 months I'm going to be in again and it's going to be great. But
exactly.
But if it's like, it doesn't, when I sit there and pick up the cards and do a draft and I just sit in there going, wah, 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 and like complaining for 4 hours.
Yeah.
Like, that's me complaining.
That sounds right. Yeah.
That's a very Muppet version of me. But then it's going to be like, all right, like this obviously is just causing me to be a toxic person or like not stoked with myself the whole time.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Should probably like find something else,
Yeah.
And that's like tough, but you're right. We got to check in with ourselves and make sure we're having fun and go from there. So with bottom tier, like it's going to stick around as long as we're having fun. And if we get that gold card or if we get a release card, amazing. And if we don't, amazing. Cause we're here having fun, like talking, and it's like, it's just great. It's great synergy and a lot of fun just to be able to chat about this topic. And
right. Exactly. It's just nice to get together with a friend.
Yeah.
And engage in a mutually enjoyable topic with each other.
And maybe it leads to other things in the future and everything like that too. We never know. We could have the Matt and Greg production company of the century.
Right. Exactly. Greg and Matt Power Hour.
Oh,
boom.
Oh my gosh.
I just blew your mind.
Oh my gosh. I love that. but yeah. So yeah, sorry to get all personal I didn't mean to have it on the podcast, but, I guess I misunderstood that. My communications.
Or I guess I misunderstood. One of us misunderstood.
We misunderstood. But hey, we brought up the topic. Now you know where our heart is at.
And you know what, really, I feel like the community of bottoms really, like, part of what they come here for is just to listen to us yammer about stuff. But part of what they come here for is some of that honesty, like just like being upfront about where we are with things.
Yeah.
So I feel like it plays into our shtick a little bit.
It's therapeutic for you, me, and everyone in between.
Hopefully we brought a little therapy to your lives, everybody.
It is. It really is good to be able to sit down and if you've never had a podcast before or have put yourself in a situation to talk randomly with someone for an hour, it's actually quite...
it's an experience,
You know what? I think there's a comedian, I forget what his name is, Anyways,
please not one of the canceled ones. I don't need this kind of flaming in my freaking email.
No,
man.
we're not getting a canceled one. I forgot his name completely, but he has a podcast as well where he has random people phone call him.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because that dude has a lot of issues, and he's like, "Hey, what's interesting is comedians end up just having a podcast and it turns into therapy, and so maybe that's kind of what this is for other people too." And I hope that can help you on some sort.
Like really genuinely, mostly I'm here to have fun. But if somebody out there like can take some of these words to heart and like improve a little bit from it, like on a personal level or a professional level or a card playing level or whatever freaking level, I'm thrilled.
Oh yeah,
that's awesome. If something can come out of this other than these guys are funny, then I'm like really happy.
I don't think this episode's not funny.
This episode's like not funny at all.
Yeah,
nobody's laughing here.
Yeah, we're not having fun.
There's no humor. There's no fun.
But with that, dude, like Outsiders is gonna be really cool. Like it's
looking pretty good.
8-person draftable set. I'm really looking forward to being able to play with Riptide and understand him more. That's gonna be really cool. That's a great character in general. But I'm also excited to see the new assassin and what they do with the young Arachne as well. Ninjas, there's nothing really new, but I'm excited to see those things that they're doing. There's another new hero too, isn't there? Or is it just the two?
It's just the two.
And then the whatever Arachne.
Yeah, and then so there's 2 of each class: Benji and Katsu, Riptide and Azalea, and Uzuri and Arachne.
Yep. So six playable. I think I said 8, but 6 playable heroes. So that's really cool.
That's super exciting. It's much nicer than Uprisings 3.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Because I think what happened was it was purely rock paper scissors.
100%. Yeah.
And it seems like LSS is understanding like what to do with that, and be like, okay, people got sick of it really fast. Let's add this other variant in there, and hopefully it works out. Hopefully they bounce enough.
I have a good feeling about it. I genuinely have a good feeling about it. I think it's going to be a pretty good set.
And honestly, as we think about it, we are kind of like the forefront, even though it's 3 years old and there's people before us.
Yeah.
Like they won't actually have their feet underneath them until like 5 years.
Oh, easily, yeah.
So we're
Magic
literally
the Gathering
we're just
didn't
testers.
know what they were doing for the first few years, and 30th anniversary just happened,
and they still don't know what they're doing.
And they still don't know what they're doing, and they've been around for 30 years. They make all the money on the planet, so I see no reason Flesh and Blood can't hang around for at least 15 or 20.
Oh, absolutely,
yeah.
And then we have Disney coming out with their game.
Oh boy,
looks good. No, I'm just kidding.
Don't start with me.
Anyways, you want to see our side podcast about just kidding.
About Greg's love of the Disney trading card game, check us out at greghatesdisney.com. It's not a real website. Don't go there. It's probably malware.
Talk about it.
No.
It'd be great.
No.
We try it.
All right, what is this stupid shit? Oh, wow, this is fun, actually.
I forget what it's called too, but whatever.
Yeah, it's Magic Kingdom.
The trading card game. Legendaria or something.
Yes, some Disney name for it, yeah. It's not actually a word, but it sounds kind of like a word, so close enough.
Wakanda Forever.
Exactly, yeah, the Black Panther trading card game.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I
might actually play that.
The Black Panther trading card game?
I might actually.
Yeah. You have to, you end the game by crossing your arms and nodding your head.
Although I'm pretty sure that that's just Marvel Snap at this point.
I guess it is, yeah.
Basically.
It is Marvel Snap.
Yeah. Man, I invented something that's already been invented.
We could have a Marvel Snap. No, I was kidding. I actually played that for a month, and then I was like, right.
Yeah, I was into it for a couple of weeks, and it was hella fun. And then I just didn't care anymore.
Yeah. Dang.
Yeah, it's still on my phone. Like I look at it every time I go to look at other things. Yeah, I don't feel like it.
All right. Well, we've been talking for 40 minutes. I think there's one more thing I want to get out there because we've had 2 weeks of not talking.
Yeah, let's do it.
We had an interesting discussion with our local community, and it's about Talishar.
Yeah. I remember this.
So like I said, we've had a decrease in our local community, and a lot of the reason is probably linked to Talishar. People are able to play decks more and be more affordable and try things out.
Yeah.
But also, a lot of people have now been like, my local armory is now online and we just play on Talishar, and that's what we do. How do you feel about that? And how do you feel that affects the game?
Well, I'm of two minds about it. I see both sides. Which is a horrible thing to say in this day and age. On the one hand, I don't have any money for this hobby.
Yeah.
So being able to have a service like this where you can go and you can put a deck together, irrespective of cost, and get out and play with it and tinker with it and refine it without having to, organize a thing with your friends or wait for the next armory to show up on the schedule or any of that kind of stuff. Super great. Being able to just pick up a game when you have 20 spare minutes and just knock one out really quick. Super great. Being able to play with people around the world, awesome. Being, in a location that's, a little bit more remote or rural and, maybe you don't have a community out there necessarily, still being able to tap into, the flesh and blood, community group, whatever. I'm using the word community too much, but you know what I mean. Being able to tap into that, even if it's not, within 100 miles of you, fabulous. Wonderful. I'm all for, democratization of the process and all that kind of jazz. On the other hand, though, especially in areas like ours where there's a lot of really competitive players, I think it's inevitable that you're going to sort of see some of that attrition start happening, because it is, much faster to, make a couple of tweaks on Fabrary or FabDB or something and then jump back into another game on Talishar than it is to, buy the cards at a local and then wait 2 days for the next CC armory to fire and then go test it. And, everyone's playing Oldham and Phi and there's one Briar in there. So you have no idea how this is doing against Dash or anything like that. I get it. But it also, it definitely has an effect on really what for me is the best part of the game, which is the coming together in person, looking across the table, sharing a few jokes back and forth. Oh, shit, that's a misplay. Do you mind if I take that back? When it's more casual or, talking strategy afterwards where you can actually lay the cards out, replicate turns and things like that and kind of work through the lines. There's a whole aspect of this sort of game that you lose when you put it online. So I'm of two minds about it, really, frankly, and it's a pretty evenly split thing. I can't come down on one side or the other because they both have pros and they both have cons, and they're kind of in equilibrium with each other. I don't want to be all like, oh, Talishar sucks, why would you do that?
Yeah.
Sort of thing. Because there's plenty of reasons you could do it. Accessibility reasons, geographic reasons, time reasons. There's all sorts of reasons to use it. Do I think it's a replacement for an armory or a pro tour or something like that? No. It doesn't give you the same experience, even though you're still playing the game. Even if you're on audio and video call with somebody else, we all experience this, I'm sure, during, the year that's lasted 3 freaking years now. But talking to somebody over a webcam is not the same thing as being in person with them.
Right.
So I don't know. You lose something. 100%. Whether that's something that's good or bad depends on your specific community. It depends on your specific desires and needs around the game. But overall, for me, I much prefer doing it in person. Because you have, the energy of the room. You have people, playing Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh! Over on some other tables. Yeah. You got chatter all around. You got, the atmosphere going. You got your buddies all around. And you can hang out for 45 minutes afterwards and bullshit. There's so much more wrapped up in going to an armory in person than just playing cards. And I think people miss that sometimes. Or they put the priority on just the card playing and sort of discount the rest of it.
Yeah. And I think I agree with you because I understand that side too. But also the same aspect, I think it kind of shows the casual versus the competitive. I feel like I'm kind of a hybrid person. I want to play well, I want to beat people, but also I want to be there and enjoy the atmosphere. But those who take it really, really competitive are just I'm on Talishar all day, every day,
all the time,
tweaking my deck little by little, crushing it because they don't show up until it's the big event where it matters, and then they just win it, or they do that, and that happens a lot in every single card game or video game. They don't go to the live events. They just practice, and then they go and outperform because they know it really well, which is awesome. And I think if you're trying to be competitive, you should be doing that and all that type of stuff. However, if you want to have things that if you're trying to make this your livelihood, yes, go do that. But if you're like, I don't really make this my livelihood, I recommend being more on the spectrum of just being casual and showing up and making those friends, because that really is like going to fill your life up a lot, you know?
Exactly. And you pretty much hit the nail on the head, I think, that it's a matter of context, right? Like if you are going to be a hyper competitive player, there's no way that you can go to enough armories during the week to really, you know, sharpen things up to the point where you need to be.
Yeah.
Likewise, if you just want to chill out and have a good time, you go on Talishar and people start screaming at you for playing some, you know, weird build or taking a little too long on your turns when you're trying to work out the math or the paginations or whatever. Like, you're going to have a bad experience, you know, either way if you're going about it the wrong way. Just something that I think needs to be in people's minds is that if the armories don't fire, if the skirmishes don't fire, if the pre-releases don't get people to come out to it, then they're going to stop. And that's going to murder any possibility of this game lasting more than 5 years.
Yeah.
So it's a matter of balance, right? I feel like even if you are going to be on Talishar like all the time, like hyper competitive, just sharpening things up, getting it down to the last iota of sideboarding for the weirdest like genius matchup you can think of, you should still go in person once a week.
You really should.
Or once every couple of weeks.
Or if you have time, twice a week, like something like that. So.
Yeah, just whatever works for your schedule, but get out there and engage a little bit. You can be, you know, a hyper competitive, stupendous player at this game and still chill out with your friends every once in a while, I feel like. Of course, I'm not a hyper-competitive player. I'm not very good at this game. So complete armchair like prognostication. And
for sure.
Prognostication is not the right word. That's telling the future. I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but you out there in the interwebs,
tell us.
Make fun of me for losing words. It'll be real fun. But yeah, like that's where I'm kind of with it. With the whole in-person Talishar thing, both are wonderful. Both have different use cases, so they can definitely coexist with one another. But you gotta make room for each.
Yeah, you do. You really do. If you're playing Talishar all the time, make sure you go do one armory a week.
And if you just go to armories all the week, just try a pickup game of Talishar. Like, they have a commoner mode.
Well, make sure you test it. Make sure you test your stuff before you spend your money, you know?
Exactly.
But like I just like we want the game to last a very long time. I think it'd be awesome to be able to see that.
Mm-hmm.
And you're right. Like, it's really based off the attendance. Like, we go to this one location and it wasn't getting cards at all. It was fresh, and so they weren't sending the things to supply a local game store. And now it supplies it every month, and that's really, really cool.
Because we started showing up, we showed that there was enough interest in it that that game store could tell LSS, hey, we have an armory firing basically every week now. Can we get some promos?
Yep. And
it happened. And those promos really do help bring people in. Like, it's one thing to just say, like, well, this is a super fun game and you should come try it. It's another thing to say, this is a super fun game and you should come try it and you can win prizes and stuff like that, right? Like, sometimes you need a little bit of, you know, a material nudge to get people out the door.
Some zest.
Some zest, exactly.
Yeah, best word.
Exactly. But so, like, and LSS is really engaged in this sort of thing. Like, they're super active in making sure that the stores that fire have the promos and that, you know, they're open with their communication as much as they can be and all that kind of stuff. Like, they put the effort into making sure that people can have what they need to have for the most part. I've heard a little grumbling every once in a while, but I mean, when you're doing logistical stuff on the scale that you have to, when you have a worldwide product like this and you're just some indie little studio down, you know, on the bottom of the planet, it's not going to go perfectly. So I think that LSS is doing a good thing with it. I think that we need to continue to show up and show them that their good faith in us as they're doing this game and trying to provide this product and this, you know, this fun to us. I think more than just, you know, paying money for the cards, we need to just more generally like be open to showing up and having a good time and really enforcing that we're not just some weird little niche, we're not just some flash in the pan, you know, dual masters kind of nonsense. Like, we're going to be here for a while because we love this game, we love one another, and we're just going to keep making it happen.
I love it. That's a great note to end on. So, guys, love this game, love one another, and
Bottom tier, top tip.
Love the bottom tier by liking and following and subscribing to anything that we have. So thank you.
Oh, I love that. That's fabulous.
Fab. But thanks for listening, guys. It's been awesome. We're glad to be back. We'll be making sure to keep you updated for all our Outsider stuff that's going to be happening this month. So stay tuned for that.
We 100% are doing pre-release, right?
We are doing pre-release.
Excellent. So
that is when?
So the set launches the 24th, I think.
Sweet. Yes.
So end of the month.
Cool.
So keep your eyes open. We'll have more news on that. We'll probably be doing a live stream or something.
Yeah.
If
that's all we can really.
If we can swing it with the local we go to, but we'll definitely keep you guys appraised. But other than that, I think that's about it, right?
Absolutely. Thank you so much. My name's Matt.
And I'm Greg. Guys, this has been the Bottom Tier. Thank you so much for joining us today. We hope you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your week.
Toodles.